to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Really want to thank every single person that has subscribed to the channel. We appreciate you so much. Appreciate love. Yeah, not appreciate hate. English words are spells, etc., etc. And we really want to send a special shout out to our Patreon family. We appreciate love you so much for supporting us on that channel. We are able to, on that platform rather, we are able to share much more about what's happening with the pandemic there than we would be able to do on these other public platforms. And everyone that sends us donations through PayPal, we appreciate love you so much, and all the compliments that you give us. Just anyway, thanks for being here. Long story short. Now, there's something that happens in Kenya that I wanted to talk about. Not just Kenya, the whole of Africa. And it's been the curse of secondhand clothes. And, ever since, I think it started in the late 90s, early 2000s. The Mzungus, basically the charity organizations, started dumping Mzungu clothes into Africa, into a lot of the poorest nations. And these didn't end up in charities, they didn't end up in orphanages, but they ended up on our streets and they were sold. And it reached a point where in 2016, it was like secondhand clothes was something like a $416 billion industry. And, and it's something that's been very controversial because it has literally, at least here in East Africa, it has literally decimated and killed our local manufacturing industry, where many of us don't have our own style. Let me speak for Kenya at least. Many people are now totally hooked on the modern clothes, which are not really right for our system, for our climate, for our body structure, many, many things. I could go so deep into this. In Kenya, they're called mitumba, which basically means bundles. And here, basically people will go and buy these bundles and then you'll open it up and you'll find, old designer bags, old bras, beloveds. People buy secondhand bras. People buy secondhand underwear. And and so they're all sent, but a lot of these goodwill places and charity places is where when people die, the relatives will bundle up all their stuff and take it to these charity places. And then there are a lot of goodwill shops even in Babylon, where if you want, designer knockoffs, and then they will then send, all that stuff to Africa. But most of it, and that's what, in Ghana, it's actually called Obroni Wawu, which is dead white men's clothes, and Salaulu, selecting by rummaging in Zambia. But it's been a big business. And actually, I think it's in 2015, East Africa imported $151 million worth of these used clothes, beloveds, because they don't come free. A lot of people in Babylon think that these secondhand clothes come free, but they don't. And so they've really flooded and oversaturated the market. That and cheap Chinese and Turkish knockoffs is what has flooded our market, because we've been totally saturated by that Babylon clothing. And here in East Africa, the mishush industry is much more open. I'm told in West Africa, it's something that, people do undercover. They don't really want people to know. And there was a lot of controversy, beloveds, when Africa, especially East Africa, actually tried to stop they actually put a ban, and they did, the East African community, they actually put a ban on the importation of used clothes, saying it was affecting their local manufacturing industries. And Rwanda tried to do the same, and they actually received a huge backlash, beloveds. And Trump in the AGOA, the African growth, I don't know what it stands for, but it's basically the foreign policy that the special agreements that many of these divided states countries will take with Africa. One of their stipulations is like, you have to take in these secondhand clothes. They had to be dumped. And by the way, Plastics were also being dumped here. All kinds of waste was being dumped in Africa, but those are stories for other days. And so they say that, the top three used clothes exporters were the divided states, the divided kingdom, and Germany. And they were followed by the United Arab Emirates, Pakistan, and India, which was small, like below 10%. But the main ones were were those three that I mentioned. And, they tried to, so Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda, they actually raised taxes on secondhand clothing. There was a lot of, here in Kenya, when it was banned, there was a lot of people said it would affect their livelihood. Like there was a lot of emotional uproar. And, doctors had also warned of health risks associated with wearing used clothes, because sometimes people didn't wash them and they ended up getting diseases. Gross. Including I'm even going to read them here, just so you know: ringworms, body lice, skin cardiacitis. I have no idea what that means. Scables, so much, beloveds. But you see, it's become almost like a status symbol. And there's a reason I'm sharing this, because you see, our governments have come out and said, we don't want our people to wear second-hand clothes anymore. I just want to put this down. We don't want our people to wear second-hand clothes anymore, because it's killed our industry. They don't even know how to, it's killed our imagination of what we can wear ourselves. But the worst thing, beloved, is the spiritual implications of wearing the clothes of someone who hates you, someone who is lower than you. It's crazy. And our people don't know it, because you see, when you wear the clothes of someone, you take on their spirit kind of mashes with yours. That's why all gurus and highly spiritual people, when they leave, if they leave and their physical, if they, let me not get into that, but if they leave their physical body here, everything of theirs is burnt together. Everything of theirs is destroyed, from the materials they wear, the clothes they wear, or they'll give it to a disciple, because it carries the energy of that person. And you see, we keep talking about colonization, oppression, etc. But these are the subtle tools of oppression and colonization, not only making you wear their fashion, but making you wear their dead people's clothes. And then when our governments say they don't want to do it, threatening trade agreements with them. I mean, I think people don't understand the nature of our enemy, beloveds. And how much our lives individually are just being mashed up by ignorant choices that we were never even taught were ignorant. But spiritually, beloveds, it is time to get rid of any secondhand clothes you may have, especially from Babylon. And this is for my African brothers and sisters, because that stuff is messing you up. I already talked about the wigs and the weaves, and how wearing someone else's crown on your crown means you've given your crown to them, literally. And their spirit can still roam, because hair is something very mystical. Hair is also signals. I mean, I'm going to do weaves just briefly. Hair is also signals, beloveds. So if you've got that weave on, you're sending different, you're connecting to, it's like your hair is your aerial. But when you wear some Mzungu hair, I don't even know if they have aerials or what they're connecting to. But you're definitely not connecting to any higher realm, which is what your hair is for. Your hair is not as a, as a crown to make you beautiful. It's an antenna. It's something highly spiritual, beloveds. Which is, I say, remove the wig and remove the weave, especially now. And stop putting that plastic in your hair, especially, it's that serious. If you're that serious about your mental liberation. But also, this thing of wearing other people's clothes has cursed many, many people. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki, hoping you're well, hoping you're good in all your ways, and that you're really, really moving into living life truly on your own terms, totally self-sufficient in your own vibes, beloveds, because that is what the seasons and times require of us. And, a lot of the doppies, I love the way Jamaicans call it that, but a lot of the spirits that have shattered the African spirit have come through our ignorance in doing certain things. And we were never taught. I mean, we were taken away so much, and the spiritual was made trivial. So if you tell someone like there's energy in someone's clothes and you shouldn't wear, a dead person's clothes, some people will get it, and some people will think you're superstitious. But those people that we used to think were superstitious were onto something, beloveds. And, the epidemic, it's literally an epidemic of secondhand clothes. I mean, at least now East Africa banned it since 2019, but now we're seeing cheap imports from, China and Turkey. I'm sure some still get in, but the fact that people used to wear old people's clothes, beloveds. I mean, my grandmother used to tell me, don't even give your sweater to someone, because there's so many things that people can do with that. You see, we live in a magical world, beloveds. Those who know magic, those who know the occult are the ones who are running things. They're the ones who are controlling things. Who do you think is running this world right now? It's people who have deep occult knowledge, and they even throw it in your face because they know how their engineered education and everything has literally made you stupid. I mean, they laugh every day that the oppressed would still allow the people they oppressed would still allow them to educate their children, and would be fighting to take their children to their educational institutions, racist educational institutions. So this thing of wearing secondhand clothes that you have no idea where they came from, please, beloveds, stop it. Throw them away. Because you're taking on so much more spiritually. And you see, you could be higher spiritually, just naturally, by being a melanated being. So you could be a higher being, but when you cloak yourselves in these things, your frequency is cloaked, and the clothes you're wearing become your new frequency. And this is one of the ways that we're cursing ourselves. This is one of the ways that people are cursing themselves, beloveds, without even knowing. And I know, like in places like Kenya, like local fashion used to be so expensive. But you can get some material and go to, get a little tailor and show him the design and work with him. That's how most of us make our clothes. West Africa is way more advanced, because the East African textile industry was totally shattered by the second-hand industry, which was the plan all along. But it was deeper than that. It was an occult move, beloveds. Nothing just happens physically. That's what we have to see. Try and understand, overstand, and understand everything on a spiritual as well as a physical level. Don't just see things physically and see, oh, they brought these clothes, they brought these secondhand clothes, probably they're dead people's clothes for our people to wear. Then you'll go gift your grandfather an old jacket from some guy that died in Babylon who was maybe a racist Nazi. Who knows? You don't know, but who was definitely lower vibration. And that's what has made Africa stay at a certain vibration where we can be exploited. Because Africa's exploitation has happened because we haven't been able to collectively raise our frequency above our oppressor. And that's partly because we took his religion. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to stop this thing, beloveds, of wearing dead people's clothes. Like, seriously. It is cursing your life. You're taking on their curses. Are you taking on their blessings? Are there any blessings to take on? And anything that gives you a physical disease, like you've heard it gives these people these ringworms and stuff, imagine what kind of spiritual disease it's giving you. But if you want to clear yourself and clear your space, it's really good to just have your own energy, trust your own vibe, trust and learn about your own power. There's so much that you can do. And you don't really need many clothes, beloved. I know it's ironic for someone like me to say that, but really, when I'm on the farm, I love this show because I get to wear my clothes. Because when I'm on the farm, it's literally, tracks and a t-shirt and gumboots. That's like our daily uniform. But in the world where we're going into, we'll literally even have to start making our own clothes if we don't already have enough. But even that thing of, get out of that fashion thing. But mainly secondhand clothes, beloveds, they're a huge curse on people's lives. A huge curse. And any clothes that were given to you by your enemy, any clothes that were gifted to you by your enemy, beloveds, people who you know are enemies of your soul, people who have never wanted good for you, have always talked down to you, have always shattered your dreams. In fact, I should do a video on gifts and why you should stop accepting gifts at such a time as this. Seriously, beloveds. Tuko pamoja.